Be me. 33F, marketing manager living in Boston. Been single for 2 years after a rough breakup. Spent those 2 years doing the American dating circuit. Apps, first dates, coffee meetings, the whole exhausting routine. Downloaded every app. Hinge, Bumble, The League. Optimized my profile with professional photos and witty bio. Treated dating like a job interview process, which is exactly what it felt like. Met countless guys who seemed great on paper. Finance bros, tech entrepreneurs, consultants. All with the right credentials and proper career trajectory. All completely unmemorable after the first date. The pattern was always the same. Match on app, text for a few days establishing interest. Schedule coffee or drinks, interview each other for an hour. If it went well, maybe plan a second date. If not, ghost or send the not feeling it text. Every date felt like a performance. Me presenting my best self, them evaluating. Them presenting their accomplishments, me judging. Nobody actually connecting, just assessing compatibility. My friend keeps saying I was too picky, that I needed to give guys more chances. But after 40 first dates in 2 years, I knew what I was looking for wasn't there. Then my company sent me to London for a conference. 3-day tech marketing summit, staying near Shoreditch. I was excited for the professional development. Didn't think about dating at all. Second night there, conference networking event at a pub. I'm standing near the bar with my colleague trying to order. This guy next to me starts chatting. Not hitting on me, just casual conversation about the event. His name is Thomas. He's German, works in product design. Based in Berlin but travels for conferences. We talk about the speakers, the industry, nothing heavy. He's funny in this understated way I'm not used to. The conversation flows naturally for maybe 30 minutes. Then he says his friends are meeting nearby for dinner. Asks if I want to join. Very casual, no pressure. I say yes, without overthinking it. Dinner is at this small Italian place in Soho. Thomas and 4 of his friends, mix of nationalities. French woman, British guy, Spanish woman, another German guy. Everyone's welcoming. Nobody's interrogating me. The whole evening feels different from American dating. Nobody's asking what I do for work first thing. We're talking about travel, food, music, art. Personal but not intrusive, fun but not performative. Thomas sits next to me, includes me in conversations. Makes sure I'm not left out when they reference inside jokes. But he's not focused solely on me like an American date would be. Just making space for me in the group naturally. At the end of the night, he walks me toward my hotel. We're talking about Berlin versus Boston. He mentions he's there until tomorrow evening. Suggests we grab lunch if I'm free. No formal date request, no will you go out with me. Just a natural suggestion to continue hanging out. I agree, and we exchange numbers. He doesn't text immediately, no good night or confirmation. Next day, I'm in conference sessions wondering if lunch is happening. Around noon he texts, still on for lunch. Suggests a place near the venue, very casual. I meet him there, still in my conference clothes. Lunch is easy, we talk about everything. He asks about my life, but not in an interview way. More like genuine curiosity about what matters to me. I realize I'm talking about things I never mention on first dates. My painting hobby, my complicated relationship with my sister. The fact that I'm not sure I want the management track. Things that feel too real for American dating small talk. He listens without trying to fix or judge anything. After lunch we walk through a park near the Thames. Still talking, hours passing without me noticing. He mentions his train back to Berlin is at 7. Asks if I want to grab dinner before he leaves. We end up at this tiny Thai place in Soho. Dinner turns into drinks at a pub. Suddenly it's 6, and he has to leave for his train. We walk to the tube station together. At the platform, he gives me a hug. Says it was really nice meeting you. Hopes we can stay in touch. No kiss, no future date planning, just genuine warmth. I fly back to Boston the next day, expecting that to be the end of it. But he texts me a few days later, just sharing a funny thing that reminded him of our conversation. We start texting sporadically, not daily, but regularly. sharing articles, photos from our days, random thoughts. No pressure to respond immediately or maintain constant contact. Just casual connection across time zones. This goes on for a month. I tell my friend about him. She's skeptical, says long distance never works and Europeans aren't serious. That I'm wasting time on someone I'll never actually date. But it doesn't feel like dating, it feels like friendship. Then Thomas messages saying he's coming to New York for work. Asks if I want to meet up, he can take a train to Boston. My American dating brain immediately starts calculating. Is this too much effort? What does it mean? What are we doing? But I say yes, and we make plans for a Saturday. He takes the Amtrak up, I meet him at South Station. We spend the whole day walking around the city. Freedom Trail, North End, along the waterfront. It's effortless. Picking up where we left off in London. We grab lunch at a cafe, spend hours in a bookstore. Everything feels intentional, but not forced. Like we both want to be here without any agenda. Evening comes, and I suggest dinner in Cambridge. We take the T across the river, find a Vietnamese place. Over pho, he mentions his hotel isn't great. Says he might head back to New York early Sunday. Without overthinking, I offer my couch. No ulterior motive, just practical. He accepts easily, no weird tension about it. We go back to my apartment, he drops his bag. We end up talking on my couch until 2 a.m. about past relationships, family stuff, future dreams. The kind of conversation that usually happens much later in American dating. Or never because we're all too guarded. Around 2:30, he says he should let me sleep. Start setting up the couch with blankets I gave him. I'm standing in my bedroom doorway, realizing I don't want him on the couch. I say you can sleep in my bed if you want. No pressure, just seems silly to make you sleep on the couch. He looks at me, checking if I'm serious. Says, are you sure? We end up in my bed, talking more in the dark. Eventually, he kisses me, gentle and unhurried. Everything that follows is slow and present. No performance, no agenda, just actual connection. Next morning we make breakfast together. He's wearing my oversized MIT shirt and his jeans. We're cooking eggs and laughing about something stupid. It feels domestic in a way that usually takes months. He has to leave for his train at noon. We walk to the station together, holding hands. At the platform, he pulls me close. Says, I really like you. Not I think we should be exclusive. Not what are we doing. Just simple, honest statement. I tell him I really like him too. After he leaves, I'm in this weird space. American dating rules say I should wait to text. Play it cool, don't seem too eager. But that feels stupid after the weekend we just had. I text him when I get home. Say I had a really great time. He responds immediately saying he did too. Already misses Boston. We fall into a pattern over the next 2 months. Him in Berlin, me in Boston. Texting throughout the day across time zones. Video calls when we can, but no pressure to schedule them constantly. My American friends keep asking what we are. If we're officially dating, if we're exclusive. If he's my boyfriend. If this is going anywhere. I realize I don't care about labels the way I used to. Thomas never asks me to define the relationship. Never needs reassurance about where this is going. Just seems content to enjoy what we have, while letting it develop naturally. 3 months in, he suggests I visit Berlin. I book a long weekend, nervous but excited. He picks me up from the airport, drives me to his apartment in Kreuzberg. His place is small but thoughtfully decorated. Books everywhere, plants on the windowsill. Pictures of friends and family on the walls. It feels lived in and real. That weekend he shows me his city. We bike along the canal, eat dinner at 2 a.m., visit museums and sit in parks. Meet his friends at a beer garden. His friends are warm and welcoming. They tease him about finally bringing a girl around. He puts his arm around me, completely comfortable. No anxiety about what they think or how we look together. Sunday night we're lying in his bed. He asks if I'd consider moving to Berlin. Says he knows it's crazy and too soon. But he can't stop thinking about it. My first instinct is panic. Move to another country for a guy I've known for months. That's insane by American dating standards. You're supposed to date locally, take things slow. But then I think about what I'd be going back to. The endless apps, the interview dates, the performance and evaluation and scorekeeping. The searching for something I already found. I tell him I need to think about it. Not because I don't want to, but because it's huge. He nods, says he understands. No pressure, no ultimatum, just an open offer. Flight back to Boston, I'm processing everything. The fact that I feel more connected to Thomas after 4 months than I felt to my ex after 2 years. The difference between American dating and just living. I talk to my friend over coffee. She's worried I'm rushing into something. Says I barely know him. What if it doesn't work out? What about my career, my apartment, my life here? But what about my life here? My job is fine, but not fulfilling. My apartment is nice, but feels empty. My social life is good, but not great. What exactly am I protecting by staying? 2 weeks later, I tell Thomas the first one to try it. Not forever, not marriage, just try. 6 months in Berlin, see what happens. He's thrilled, but tries to stay measured. 3 months of planning, paperwork, explaining to people. My company agrees to let me work remotely. I sublet my apartment, pack 2 suitcases. My parents think I'm having a crisis. My friend throws me a going-away party that feels like a funeral. Landing in Berlin with 2 suitcases and no plan. Thomas picks me up, drives me to his apartment, which is now our apartment. I'm terrified and exhilarated. First month is adjustment. Learning the language, navigating the city, working American hours from a European time zone, figuring out how to live with someone I barely know. But it's easier than I expected. Thomas gives me space when I need it. We develop routines that work for both of us. Morning coffee together, evenings exploring the city. It's not perfect, but it's real. 3 months in, I realize something. I haven't been on my phone comparing us to other couples. Haven't been anxious about where this is going. Haven't been scorekeeping or tracking reciprocity. Just living with someone I love. 6 months in, my trial period is up. Thomas asks if I want to stay. Not forever, not marriage, just keep going. I realize the answer is obvious. I tell him yes, but I need my own place eventually. Not because I want to leave, but because I need space. He understands immediately, helps me find an apartment. 10 minutes walk from his, close but separate. My American friends are confused. You moved to Berlin to be with him. Now you're getting your own apartment. Are you breaking up? No, I explain, we're just doing what works for us. Not following some script about how relationships should progress. He stays at mine 3 nights a week. I stay at his 4 nights. We each have space and closeness. Year later, I'm sitting in a beer garden with his friends. They're talking in rapid German. I'm following most of it. Thomas is next to me, hand on my knee under the table. I realize I'm happy in a way I've never been. Not because Berlin is perfect or he's perfect, but because this relationship isn't about achieving milestones. It's not about defining labels or meeting timelines. It's just about being together in whatever form works. My friend from Boston visits, stays in my apartment. She's amazed at my life here. The cobblestone streets, the coffee culture, the way Thomas and I move around each other. She asks if we're going to get married. I tell her I don't know. We haven't talked about it. She's shocked. You've been together almost 2 years. Don't you need to know where it's going? I realize that's the difference. American dating is always looking ahead. What's the next step? Where is this going? European dating, at least ours, is just being here now. Not avoiding the future, but not obsessing over it. Thomas and I will figure it out when it matters. For now, we're just happy. She asks if I'll ever move back to Boston. I tell her honestly, I don't think so. My life is here now. My work, my friends, Thomas. Boston feels like a past chapter. After she leaves, I think about the last 2 years. How I almost didn't text Thomas back after London. Because it seemed impractical and directionless. How American dating rules almost made me miss this. I think about all those first dates in Boston. Coffee meetings where we evaluated each other, where every conversation had a purpose. Getting to know you for compatibility assessment. Then I think about that first night with Thomas. How we just talked because talking was enjoyable. How there was no assessment, no scorekeeping. Just two people enjoying each other's company. That's what changed everything. Not that European men are better than American men, but that European dating culture, at least in my experience, allows for something American dating doesn't. Space to develop naturally without pressure. Time to know someone without defining it immediately. Room to just be together without constant evaluation. Permission to enjoy the present without planning the future. Thomas comes home from work, kisses me hello, asks about my day, tells me about his. We make dinner together, argue about what to watch. It's boring and beautiful and exactly enough. Later in bed, he asks what I'm thinking about. I tell him about reflecting on the last 2 years. How different this is from what I knew before. How grateful and that I said yes to lunch that day. He pulls me closer, says he's grateful too. That he almost didn't invite me that first night. Thought I seemed too busy, too American, too focused on the conference to want casual company. We both almost missed this. Because it didn't fit the dating scripts we knew. Because it seemed impractical or too undefined. Because we were used to dating being work. Now here we are, 2 years later, building a life that doesn't look like anything I planned. With someone I met at a networking event. In a city I'd only visited once. My Boston self would think this is reckless. Moving across an ocean for someone without a ring. Living separately after moving to be together. Not having a 5-year plan or marriage timeline. But my Berlin self knows this is right. This slow, intentional, pressure-free way of loving. Where we figure things out as they come. Where being happy now matters more than securing later. Anyway, that's my story. About dating a European man after years of American dating. And having everything I thought I knew about relationships challenged. Not because one way is right and the other is wrong, but because American dating taught me to evaluate, while European dating, at least with Thomas, taught me to experience. American dating asked, what's the next step? European dating said, let's enjoy this step. I don't know if it's really about geography. Maybe it's just Thomas and me. Maybe we'd have found this dynamic anywhere. But I know I never felt this with 40 American first dates. Never felt the permission to just exist with someone. Without constantly defining or defending what we are. Without needing labels before allowing feelings. Without treating love like a project to manage. Thomas taught me that relationships can be simple. Not easy, simple, there's a difference. Simple like, do I want to spend time with this person? Do I feel like myself when I'm with them? Do we make each other's lives better? Everything else, the labels, the milestones, the timeline, that can figure itself out if the simple part is solid. 2 years in, and the simple part is still solid. So, I'm not worried about the rest.